Today, I want to share a creative moment that reminded me of how art can center me, myself, and I. God knows when I need just to create without it being a deliverable. And others in the middle of a busy, unpredictable day. I was getting ready to attend a training earlier this week, and it was just one of those days where I woke up already late. Was just moving slow, trying to get my outfit together. I was really in this busy, anxious, didn't want to be late, all these things playing in my mind about all the things that I didn't want was coming to me, was rushing to me for me before leaving the house. I couldn't feel at like rest, right? I couldn't feel it at that time. There was a sense of urgency building on the inside of me. The kind that makes your thoughts spin faster than your steps. I'm not sure if you've ever been there. Thinking about everything that needed to get done. And I can feel like I felt the anxiety building, the anxiousness. My husband is like, "Can I help you? What's going on?" And I'm like, "No," And before heading out, I felt like I needed an artistic outlet. I mean, something to ground me, to help me be present, but was stepping into that training. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there before. What were some of the ways that you have been able to find your peace? Now, at moments, usually when I know that I'm going to a workshop, it's going to be more than a few hours. I bring my sketchbook, markers to that session. So when I get a lunch break, I can have this opportunity just to jot down some ideas, to doodle, to draw. Sometimes something with a focal point, it's sometimes not at all. But that morning, something else was calling to me that I needed to create before leaving the house. There was a sense of urgency for me to create then before leaving the house. And those moments, when those moments happen, I honor that. I believe that that's one of the ways that God is like, you need to let me in. You need to let me help you. Let me help you. So I remember that I had a foam mannequin head sitting on my table. One I've had for at least over 2 years. Now, I first bought it to do a planter set for my god sister, which I finally was able to achieve and give it to her, and she loves it, and that means so much to me. So I thought, well, what if I try acrylic pour on my foam head? The simple question became the start of something deeply therapeutic for myself. Like it's like pressure building up, and that like it needs to pop. And God loves me enough that He saw something in me enough to be like, "Boo, go do that. Go do that. You need that." So I hesitated before because during my acrylic pour pumpkin project, I remembered how the paint dripped down onto the foam. Show you the foam, and it melted. Right, so the pour is coming down from the pumpkin, and it melted the foam. So I'm like, this might not work. It might melt again, which probably would have been okay to me as well, because I was like, what can I do with it then? But then I decided, I'm just gonna take the risk. I've learned that sometimes healing happens when you just try anyway, when you just go for it, regardless of what you don't know. For me, that's stepping out on faith, right? That's me believing what God says about me. So, all right, I started mixing my own acrylic pour mediums, equal parts glue all and water, stirring it with my popsicle sticks until it was like a smooth pancake batter. Then I poured that mixture into condiment bottles like this, a bit of that medium with the paint, and I stirred that in until I got the consistency that I was looking for. Now, you can go for thin consistency for your base paint if you want, or you can go for thick consistency. It really depends on what you want. So I've been doing acrylic pours for over the last 3 years, and I'm super excited about it. I digress though. My color palette for this piece included black, brown, Mars Black, unbleached titanium, and that was from Blick. And then Sargent Art liquid metals, antique gold, and bronze. I love their pigments. I can't find it as much as I used to. I'm a little bit sad about that. So I gathered my popsicle sticks, my paper towels because it gets messy, my silicone mats that I use for my food dehydrator that I've never used, that it's now permanently become a part of my art world. Now I use that to help cover my space as well, and also to catch all the drips from the paint. Because I know it was going to get messy, I wanted to maintain some of my my table cover, which is really a backdrop, so that when we need to do something else, we can shift to it. And this time, I didn't play any music or watch any TV. I guess it was meant for me to enjoy this process in silence. Just me, the paint, the moment. And as it began pouring, I instantly began to feel the calm come over me. Watching the paint slide, swirl, and merge over the foam head was hypnotic for me. Like, you get into that flow state, and I was definitely into that flow state. I tilted and turned it slowly, letting the colors blend naturally. Sometimes I rotated it upside down or angled it one side, letting gravity help me create something unexpected. Now, it's definitely about the journey, right? I didn't know if I was going to like this piece, and if I did, that would be great, but there was no assurance in that. But what there was assurance in, or was just the possibility to enjoy the moment and get caught up in it. The colors move like liquid gold in shadows, the metallic shimmering as they found their path. Every motion became a small meditation. I wasn't thinking about time or my to-do list anymore. I was simply present, watching, breathing, and allowing myself to just be in this moment. Creating this piece reminded me of how art teaches me mindfulness, right? It teaches me to be able to show up in this space and show up with what I'm focusing on, right? Meditating, being able to meditate in that space while creating. I had control over some things, the colors I chose, the amount I poured, the direction I tilted, but I couldn't control everything. How many know sometimes it's hard to give up control, especially if God said do one thing and you do another, right? Or when you can't see necessarily the path ahead. The paint had a life of its own, and I had to surrender to its rhythm. That's the same balance that I need in life. I'm not sure about you. Knowing when to guide and when to let go. Knowing when to allow God to guide you, or your trainer or your facilitator to guide you, and when to release that control, relinquish that control so that you can move forward. So in that half hour before I left, I let peace settle in. It only took about 20 minutes, about 30 for the main pour, and then I used the leftover pour to create a small piece on canvas found. I love that nothing was wasted. Let me tell you, I had my glue on water in my cup, and I said I need to get back to it at least by the end of the night or in the morning, so that wouldn't dry. So when I waste not, I want to use what I have. And I watched the foam head transform, the browns, the golds, the blacks, melting over one another. I thought about how creativity gives you that ability to make choices in the moment. And this activity wasn't about being an artist. You don't have to be an artist to enjoy these moments. It wasn't about perfection. It was just about being present. It was about finding relief from that anxiety that I had, things that I had put in my brain that was stopping me from moving forward in that just complete flow, right? The morning, this quick, spontaneous act of art shifted my whole energy, my whole way of being. So by the time I left for the training, I felt grounded, calm, and open. The anxiety, the stress that had tried to follow me out the door stayed behind in those layers of paint, creating something beautiful in the moment. God allowed my spirit to be at peace. And I literally was like, God, give me peace. And God was like, okay, let's try this artist. So especially in those moments of hurry or chaos, gives me permission to pause, to breathe, to find meaning in movement. It reminds me that even when I feel rushed, I can create space for peace. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was late that day. And I'll take ownership of that. But I know that that moment was necessary for me. So if you ever find yourself rushing out the door, feeling anxious or overwhelmed, take a few minutes. It doesn't have to be 15 minutes to create something. To read a Bible verse, to pray, to watch an encouraging video, to scribble, pour paint, shape clay, or doodle. These moments can transform your whole day and your way of thinking. For me, this foam head acrylic pour art session wasn't just an experiment, right? Once I started pouring on the paint, the experiment aspect of it was already done. It was a therapeutic moment for myself. It was my way of reclaiming control, not over time or schedules, but over my energy, my peace, my spirit. And that's what art does. It allows me to pour not just color, but my emotions, my stories onto something tangible. Through that process, healing happens. So wherever you are in your day today, remember that you have this opportunity to take time for yourself. Breathe and pour a little beauty into your day. Don't forget, really to do that. It could be doodling. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't need thousands of hours. Put your feet on the floor. Ground yourself. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth with a sigh. Don't be afraid to take those moments for yourself. One of the other things I do like about pouring is actually see the paint drip off of whatever it is you're doing, you're creating. Again, it can be messy. I forgot to put on my gloves, realized I should have put on my gloves, because you want to make sure you're not touching anything. You also definitely want to make sure you have on the clothes that you're okay with getting messy in. Now, there are other ways to do this. Like I said, you can get the acrylic pour already made. You make sure you put your plastic on your table. Plastic gloves are great. Having those gloves accessible and on and available to you will help you, because I have to pick this foam head up now, and it's partially stuck to the box that I had it on. And now I'm thinking of what can I do which allows me not to waste this excess paint. Like, we're not going to do that. I worked hard mixing this paint together. I love these specific colors, the metallic colors, the browns, the blacks, and there are different brands. So there's Amsterdam, Blick brand, Blick Basics. I also have a bit of Sargent Art liquids there. Look, I am making sure I am wasting nothing. So I'm going to take my canvas panel and I'm going to get that paint off of my my cake turntable, or just turntable, that I got from Family Dollar, which was a really great investment, because sometimes I want to do spin art, and you need a turntable to make that happen, or you can make your own, which is definitely something I want to do, or looking into purchase a larger turntable so I can do larger pieces with the spin art. Right now you want to have your canvas be not too large so that it will completely spin off the turntable. So various sizes, 8 by 10, maybe 10 by 10, 12 by 14 probably is the largest that I would put on there. And if I wanted to do the spin art, you put that, make sure that can fit inside of a box so that when you spin it don't get all over the floor. But I will admit, and you can ask my husband, that I'm doing so much better when it comes to super messy. He wasn't in the house when this was occurring. You can only see the after results, which is a good thing. But, I'll have to mop up sometimes to just wipe down the floor and things like that. I try to cover everything that I don't want to get messy with that plastic that I get from Home Depot. Now, most recently, I want to say I've been doing a Dutch pour method. I'm pouring the paint onto the canvas or scraping the paint onto the canvas with a popsicle stick, but I'm using my blow dryer to move around the paint around the canvas. And what I've learned is how you tilt your wrist when you have that blow dryer in your hand, will affect what angle the paint will go. Now, I do have arts and craft blow dryer. Well, not this style of blow dryer, but it doesn't have the same handle. It's not a blow dryer for hair, so there's some subtle differences, but I love this. Now, I do have to get the nozzle that goes on the blow dryer, which will affect how the paint is pushed around the canvas. This is going to come out. If it's on high, it'll blow hard. If it's on low, it'll move the paint around the canvas not so aggressively. So depending upon what you're doing, you will make that decision for yourself. I have been doing pours for the last 3 years or more. I want to say I started in the pandemic, a little bit before that. I fell in love with it. I truly enjoy messy painting, like just throwing paint on the wall or throwing paint on the canvas. Like, there's such a beautiful way to get rid of aggression and anger that you may have, letting it out. You're not hurting anybody, okay, but you have this ability to enjoy this moment. Now, this is still drying. As you see, it's on the silicone mat. That's supposed to be for my dehydrator, but it's not. I have now allowed it to be a part of my art supplies for my acrylic pouring. And when I tell you, it is super helpful because it does not allow the thing that I have acrylic pour on to stick to that. You want to be able to remove the canvas, the foam head, once it dries. And it still won't dry. Whatever is on the silicone will not dry. So I pick it up after a while, after the foam head is completely dried. To the touch, I take that off of the silicone mat, then I'll wipe off the silicone mat. Please keep in mind that as it's drying and the paint is dripping off, it won't look exactly how you may see it at this present moment. And this is what it looks like wet, okay? This is the acrylic pour that I use, and I just love the way these colors look. You really won't get the full effect of it, but I just want to show you what it looks like from different angles. But it's so beautiful when it dries. There have been some pours that I've done that I do not like. If you have, let me know. What have you done with the pours that you did not like? Did you pour on top of it? What was your method of recycling that canvas? I actually want to do more pours on the foam head. And as you know, I've been recently doing my pumpkins. So let me know. What do you think? I'm thinking about adding rhinestones, maybe not. Maybe flowers at the top.